we found much less, at least within the peace studies literature and within the mediation literature, on how actually mediation can become an important tool that actually needs to continue well after a ceasefire or an agreement has been signed. And of course, being in Northern Ireland, of course, we have a lot of knowledge and examples of the ways in which mediation is used and continue to be used now, many years, many decades after the signing of the Good Friday Agreement. So it was also a way of for us to think about how do we build on some of the knowledge that exists in the island of Ireland to actually propose a different way of thinking about mediation, the different role that it can have post-agreement, but also a different way of thinking about mediation in transformative sense. And so how do we apply that, not only pre-agreement, but also how do we continue to use that as a vital tool that continue to support peace building and dialogue. And also how do we continue to build peace? But it's only a step, and that peace need to be continued, need to be sustained. And so having instruments for dialogue and mediation, it's quite crucial.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I suppose sometimes we think about mediation in a very formal manner, in that it's a process of shared dialogue, which goes through the different steps of a shared dialogue process, with a third party, coming to a conclusion and writing an agreement that is hopefully signed together at the end. However, in this project, we wanted to look at mediation a little bit more broadly, which I know this in some cases is a bit of pushback against. But we conceptualize mediation as also more broadly around mediative practice. And I suppose when we're looking at mediation from a peace building perspective, often the idea of the use of mediation skills in larger processes of dialogue, or the facilitation of dialogue between different groups, even though it might not be termed specifically mediation in that narrow formal sense, but it still uses those same skills, and therefore it's part of the same, shall we say, umbrella of communication that is required in order to transform relationships, to transform the way that people communicate within the community more broadly, and also to think about transforming those structures of inequality that exist between various groups. So I suppose that was one of the major areas of the project, is to look at mediation more broadly beyond that kind of narrower approach.